Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Another Baby Friday is upon us, or Friday's Eve, as another name I like to refer it. I know it's just a fancy way of saying it's fucking Thursday. How about that? The weekend is almost here. Hey, before we get started, just remember that this show is brought to you by Castle Global Services. Castle Global Services has an array of different type of services for you, both residential and commercial. One of the many things and that we have here at our castle here at our home is Vivint. Basically security services. This is one of the great things that they provide, and those folks from Vivint come over here to your house and they do everything from the setup. They put they have some great specials going on right now where you get buy one get one free, and basically you just you finance the equipment. I think it's like 2 years, very cheap. And then your entire home is automated. The stuff even syncs up with our Google Nest, so we can run it all through our Google terminal and such. So check them out. You can go to castleglobalservices.acnibo.com and check them out. And if you are ever interested, in being a service provider, hit them up on there as well. I think they have some really good, cool stuff, opportunities if you want to be your own online store. So, and then in addition to that, this show is also brought to you by the Great American Constitution. Hurrah! Get some. Hey, this show is all about freedom of speech as well as the right to bear arms. And, so what does that mean is that, hey, if you like our show, stick around, like, subscribe, and follow. Don't forget to pass me around. Let everybody know about, all the cool stuff that we talk about here. And if you don't like it, you can move on yourself and, swipe left and check something out, perhaps from sitchradio.com. They got a bunch of different shows on there that you can check out, and it'll tickle your fancy. I podcast that. It's a great show as well. Combat Vet Vision is another one by Chief Siebert, who's been a guest in our show. So give it a try and check it out. And like I said, if not, then like, subscribe, and follow, and don't forget to share me around. So what are we going to? So I've been thinking, some. What to talk about on the show today. And so as everybody knows, I've been diagnosed, or I have been diagnosed for, several years now with PTSD, anxiety, depression. You folks here have heard me, tell my story as well. So, but, so I was thinking, well, what can we talk about? So, and I was like, well, why don't we talk about and celebrate, I believe, was it last month or this month? I think it was last month. Last month was, Dog Month. So what better way not to talk about than to talk about these little, four-legged fur balls. Let me give them a treat just to keep them, right here. Hey, entertained. By the way, this is Taps, everybody, or PFC Taps. He is a little bit of a Roddy Shepherd mix, and his story is basically our daughter who was in Texas, and she was also no treat, who's also our Instagram. She runs our Instagram page for the Field Up. By the way, don't forget to check us out on the Instagram as well, and drop us a line on there. So. This guy's little story is basically I used to have another service dog. Her name was Reveille. And the reason why we gave her that name is because in the morning she wasn't a barker or anything like that, but for whatever reason, we used to live in California, in Temecula area, right there by French Valley Airport. She would, in the mornings just bark like about 3 or 4 times. So what we used to do is basically, I was like, oh, what name? She was still a puppy, and I was like, well, what do we call her? And I was like, holy shit, she's sounding Reveille, and it just kind of stuck. And let me tell you, that dog was really, 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 really smart, loving, caring. I mean, and her and I just bonded. And as I retired from the Marine Corps, and I was going through other things, she trained with me, and she became, I had her made into my service dog. And that dog, I mean, got me through some serious issues in my life. I was gonna say cereal. I don't know why the fuck I was gonna say that. Anyways, and I hate to admit this, but hey, like I said, I'm just being transparent on this show. This is before I stopped drinking. I mean, that dog was even my drinking buddy. I mean, a few times, her and I, we had our she used to love beer for whatever reason. Sam Adams cherry wheat flavor. I don't know. And again, I haven't been, I've been sober since 2013. But that dog got me through a lot of things. And she knew me when I was having, when I was having my issues. She just knew how to, get me to calm down and, center and get grounded again. So now we're doing the same thing. Oh, sorry, buddy. We're doing the same, this little guy right here, he is also, training to be a service dog, and he picks up a lot of stuff, really, really quickly. But anyways, Jesus Christ, he's just dying for a treat. So his story is basically my daughter, who, again, I said she runs our page. She called me up one day, and she sent me this picture of this little guy right here. And she's like, hey, look, what do you think of him? She had sent me a couple before, but I just wasn't ready to move on. And again, Revs was, she was such a big part of our life. And to this day, still she is. I mean, hell, I get, even talking about her, I still get all choked up, so, but apparently they were going to throw him in the trash dump, those dumpster, what we call in the Marine Corps, dipsy dumpster. They were going to, two guys were going to throw him in there. And nonetheless, she sent me the photo, and he just looked too cute on that photo. And I was like, just go get him. The wife wasn't really too thrilled about it, because obviously, she wanted to share this moment. And as everybody knows here, she's been, working in the Middle East. So obviously she would have loved being part of the process of, getting one of these little guys and everything. But, not, thinking when she met him, I mean, she just, and obviously she already, had feelings for him after I, showed him to her over, when we video chat. But when she was here, recently, I mean, she spent a lot of time with him, and she just fell in love to pieces with this fur ball right over here, this PFC Taps. And, he's just growing part of our life. It's amazing how these four-legged creatures just completely take over our lives and become, such a big part of us that, once, when they leave, I mean, we pretty much, we'll pretty much do anything. I mean, shit, just pull up any movie. I mean, hell, let's, look at John Wick. Shout out to Keanu Reeves and everybody over there. But, just look at what we do for these animals. I mean, hell, I remember when Reveille, she had some knee issues, and I ended up giving her, she had to have surgery. And I mean, I spent just about $4,000 on her surgery. And I mean, I would have spent even more just to make sure that she was okay. I mean, wouldn't even have thought twice about it. I would have thought twice about me if I had to spend $4 or $5 grand. I'm like, fuck it, I'll survive. Cut it off. I'm good. If it's free, cut it off. But whatever it is for them, make it happen. I don't know. I don't know why we think that way. So what is it? What is man's obsession with these things? And the close bond that we've had with these animals. I mean, hell, we go back thousands of years, and the dog is still domesticated. I mean, and you can find I mean, they found remnants and mummified pets, cats, dogs, among other creatures. That us humans, we have this attachment to care for another being like this. you know I remember growing up in Colombia, and just like Sister Milan. By the way, if you want to read um, a great book, read the Pack Leader by Caesar Milan. I mean, what a great story. One, him being an immigrant himself, and where what he's made of himself um, as an individual. Taking all politics out of it, whether initially when he came, yeah, he was illegal, but the dude, now became legal and blah blah. But what a great story. One, that and two, but how what he talks about these animals, because he grew up in Mexico, I grew up in Colombia, he grew up at a farm, so did I. Dogs to him or to his family were an extension of that rancher, which was the same case for us. I mean, I remember my dad had a special whistle for just about every fucking thing, and whatever the dog, he knew, whatever whistle it went, that dog knew how to go left, right, slow, crawl, backflips, bark, don't bark, nip at the legs of the cow, don't nip, get your ass over here. I mean, it was just crazy to see him. I think that's why, now that I think about it, to some degree, my kids were whistle trained. They just knew my whistle, and so when they were kids, whether we were at a park or whatever, they just knew my whistle. They would just like pop out like little friggin' prairie dogs, like whoa whoa, hey Poppy, who, me, Joe? Yeah, that's me. You call? Oh, yeah, you're calling me. I'll be right there. But yeah, and now that I think about it, my daddy just did the same shit to me. But what getting back to the point is that these little animals are, they for ranchers, there's such a extension of them here in the U.S. I mean, you use cat, there's cattle dogs for cattle. There's for herding sheep. I mean, these animals. I mean, and they pick it up. So our infatuation, I guess not infatuation, I think our relationship between man and animal, I mean, it's very deeply rooted, as well as it goes back a really long time. So, to the point that, nowadays, I mean, these animals, not only are they great, they become service dogs, and, and they help us, they help individuals with, turning on who have mobility issues, with turning on the lights, turning them off, getting things, reaching for things, opening doors, buttons, you name it, to individuals like myself that, as we're having issues, they know, they're just so in tune with us. And obviously you can train them that way, where they'll, if you're having a trigger or a moment, they just know, they'll sit next to you, and they want you to engage with them. I know that's what even in the months that we've been, him and I have been together. I mean, he just knows that, hey, I think he's having an issue, or he seems like he's down. He'll just want to, he'll come on he'll stand on my lap or sit in front of me, and then put his paws on my lap, and then he'll just start licking me and just want me to engage with him, to just kind of get my mind off. And believe you me, it's been a blessing, to say the least. It's been these last few months, one, without the companionship of the wife being gone, just these four walls, and ruminating thoughts, the four walls start shrinking in on you, and just these other thoughts just start kind of getting the best of you. And you could try to fight them and do other things, but it's good to have some a battle buddy that can help you um, go through those things and get your head in the right place. So as you see, I know a lot of us here on our show, you've seen other veterans walking around the stores. Um, Not so much here in Florida where I'm at, but I know in California, I see quite a few fellow veterans, with their animals, out and about, and again, you don't engage, because again, me having to be, having one myself and being exposed to other veterans that had animals, service animals, you don't engage with them, you don't look at them, you don't call them. As a matter of fact, most of the time I would just go the other way. I'm like, hey, you know what? If they're in a grocery aisle, I would just go the other way. So as not to, because I know that dog is working. Is the bottom line. So if you ever see somebody out there and they got their dog and all that stuff, don't call them, don't click at, don't do little clicking noises, don't do, all this other dumb shit that you think that, oh, hey, or even ask, hey, can I pet your dog? Whatever. That animal is working. Obviously, the individual there's some anxieties. Going into crowds and that type of stuff, I still have to work through that. So having him around just kind of, it kind of helps, because I'm so focused on him that, nope. I got a bag of tricks behind me. Treats. So, that I'm so focused on him that, it just kind of helps me navigate through all those things. So, so here's where things kind of get, I guess, tricky for lack of better words. We were at, so a couple of weeks ago, we were out and about. He's wearing his vest. By the way, if you look at the ADA Act, on the portion where it talks about, where it talks about service animals, they don't have to wear a vest and the red vest with the whole service animal. They don't. Nowhere does it say that these animals have to wear any of that shit. As a matter of fact, that stuff is on there for you, for everybody else but that owner. It's just, it says don't pet me, don't, it's out there, for a reason. So, my dog, I bought him one of those, not a red vest, but I bought him, one that looks very tactical. It looks like he might as well just have sappy plates, because it looks like a little mini flak jacket. Anyways, so PFC Taps and I were just hanging out and chilling at the T-Mobile store, doing our thing. And, as I walk into the store, this guy is, oh, hey, is that your dog? I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, he is. Oh, what kind of breed? And I just, I'm trying to tell him. And he tries to call my dog. And I was just like, okay, I'll let it slide this time. But he's got his, his vest, and it's got patches that says, don't, please stop. Don't look at, don't engage me, blah, blah. I'm working. I'm a service dog. Right. So I on purpose went over there to the back of the store to just sit down and wait my turn. And, he sat, he's just there. We're just hanging out. It's my turn. We're talking to, the individual that's helping us out. Great kid, by the way. Shout out to Jay at T-Mobile and in the Bird Road and 57th area. We're just, we're talking. And the dude, he calls my dog, this time it was just like, he makes, that little clicking noise that people make. I don't want to make it right now, because if not, PFC, a little PFC over here will think it's calling him, and then he'll get all riled up again. Anyway, so I just looked at the individual, and I'm going to say it just like I said it to him for you viewers, and tell me in the comments, maybe if I was wrong, but this is what I said. Hey man, can you please do me a favor? Stop calling my dog. It's just that he's working right now, and I just don't want him to get distracted. That's pretty much how I said it. Just kept doing my business, and whatever. So after about maybe 5 minutes, the dude turns around. He looks at me again. We're inside the store. He looks at me. He goes, "Hey man, I didn't like the way you told me that." And I, doing the, the jarhead thing. I mean, I had already, when I come, I know a lot of us can relate. We pretty much size up the area. We just kind of look around for things. Okay. So I had, the dude was about, I'm 5'7.5", 5'8", according to the Marine Corps. The dude was about 6 foot tall, middle-aged dude. I guess we're about the same age, but a little bit heavier. So I know that, the guy doesn't really maintain himself. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just looked at him and like, he said, hey, I don't like the way you talk to me. The way you told me that. I said, what do you mean? I said, please. And I'm talking to him just like this. I said, what do you mean? I said, please. And I said, don't engage my dog. He's working. He's a service dog. He's got patches and shit on him. I mean, I didn't say shit, but as well, I'm like, you didn't say please. I'm like, yes, I did. I said it. I said it, and said, don't engage my dog. So I had to go, use the restroom, but they didn't have one in the store. So I was going next door and I told the kid, hey, I'll be right back. And as I'm walking past by this dude, he leans into me and he goes, by the way, I do whatever the fuck I want. And I just stop. And he's right here. And I just stop and I just look up and I said, now, by this time I'm kind of already getting, riled up and, for whatever reason, again, Taps just comes, he automatically sits in front of me and he looks at me. And I just, I put my head down and I looked at him and I was like, pretty much like saying, all right, fine, whatever. Just like, I kind of surrendered. I was like, okay. So I just, I just kind of like, turned my head sideways and I looked at the guy and I said, look, man, I did 21 years in the Marine Corps. And there's a reason why I have this animal. And according to the American Disability Act, I could put, he can come wherever I go. So I don't want any trouble. So that being said, this conversation is done. I'm going to go ahead and walk away. And that's that. So I kept, I walked away and, the guy tried to engage me one more time. And I just turned around and said, hey, man, it's done. We're done. Conversation's over. Okay. So I went to the bathroom, came back. But as I walked by him, I made sure I looked at him dead in the eyes. And I just finished my business, finished my, my transaction at the store. And that was it. But, it amazes me, kind of goes back to the things that we're dealing with today where, people just, don't like being told no. Oh, that doesn't align with me. So, it's my truth or, and again, I'm not trying to get into politics and whatever, but this whole my truth, your truth, there isn't such a thing. It's the truth. But, again, getting back to the point is like people don't like being told no. And, I almost got into an altercation. Now, how'd I come back? And again, I chose to walk away. The earlier me and the guy who's had issues in the past where, anger issues where I blacked out on the street. And, you can pretty much, well, nobody knows here, my kid's mom or my former spouse, but, she can tell you just, how shit in the past would have escalated really quickly without even thinking twice. And, luckily, I was able to, Taps was there. He helped diffuse the situation, because in the end, it's not worth it. It's not, probably the legal repercussions that could have happened. And, I could have hurt that individual because I know I would have, hands down. I mean, and two, going to jail, the legalities and all the other things, it just, maybe in the immediate gratification might have, might have been great. But, on the back end, all the other things that just one little ripple, one little stone on the lake, once you cast that stone and that little ripple, commences, it just, a lot of things could have, led to just other trouble that it just wouldn't have been worth it. So I'm glad that he was there. I'm proud of myself for being able to walk away of that entire situation. So, but yeah, so the point I'm trying to make people is that, when you see somebody, and even train your kids that, oh, look at the puppy. No, he's not a puppy, or that dog is working, is doing something. So, give that people their space. We were at the grocery store last night, and an individual, I think he might have been prior service, but he saw I was kind of looking at paper towels, and towels were just sitting there waiting, and the dude, the dude, he saw my dog, and I think their eyes met, and hey, I'm gonna, he said, I'm gonna walk away because, I know you're working, and but you're cute as hell. I turned and looked at the guy and said, hey man, thank you, I appreciate it. He goes, I know, I know he's working. So shout out to that guy at the store for doing that. So again, train your kids, and give them their space, because those individuals, and I'm not putting myself in a pedestal and whatever. I'm just saying that there's a reason why those folks have those animals to help them. And one of the great benefits that once it's just I've really, flying has never been my thing. So he's been able to come with me on flights, where, he just kind of sits there on top of my feet, just hangs out. And, it's a real blessing, having his company, along the way. So yeah. And, we're going to get to, do other things and travel. But, it's amazing how some of these, so I don't know if I finished the story, but basically how my daughter found them is basically these crackheads, they were going to throw them in a dumpster. And but it's like, little mixed animals, and even our Doberman, who's, by the way, pure breed Doberman, we found her at a pound. It's amazing how, and I'm not just, my brother's a breeder, and again, great job to people who breed dogs, and they sell it for a living, and all that stuff. But these little guys right here, these rescue animals, it's like they go the extra mile to work for you. I mean, he picks up the things that I'm trying to show him to help me with. He picks it up really quickly. It's like, hey, look, it's like they really want to, show you what they can do. I mean, he's just hanging out right here, doing his thing. I mean, he's getting kind of hungry because, his dinner time. We're kind of half an hour past his dinner, but these little guys are just they work so hard, and and I'm thankful for what he, the help that he's given me. And I'm hopefully here within the next couple of days, or in a week or two, that I can start bringing him to work, so that way, while I'm at work, and some of the civilians just do their thing, just to leave it as that. He can help me out, just to help out with that, because as I even put earbuds in, or AirPods, and just sometimes that shit doesn't work, and I know if he was there, it would help out just a little bit more. But so yeah, I wanted to give an homage. Come here, Taps. Come here. Atta boy. Come here. Up. Atta boy. Just wanted to give an homage to man's best friend, and I do believe that these little guys are just they say I read somewhere that these little guys and gals, that they live so short, such a short lifespan, is to help us also cope and transition with death, and they also teach us in that aspect as well. So these little guys are just great, and I'm thankful for it. So yeah. So, but that's it for today, folks. So with that being said, before we get out of here, I'd like to also, hey, if you've been struggling with anxiety, depression, rumination, and just all the other stuff that life sometimes tends to throw at you, and you don't have somebody, one of these little guys to help you cope and through any of that stuff, then I encourage you, to reach out to me, reach out to a friend, reach out to one of the organizations like the VA, Military One Source, TRICARE, Suicide Hotline. Just reach out to somebody, while doing push-ups and rucksack challenge and 50-mile march, hikes are all cool and supportive and whatever. We just can't stand losing another brother or sister over to suicide, because every problem does have a solution. That's the bottom line. So just want to say thank you. And, let me at least be your last phone call, and we can work through shit out. All right. But with that being said, folks, I just want to say we're going to end this. Hurrah, get some, and I'll see you next week.